Well, by the time Edward Snowden got underway with this question and answer session about midnight here in Hong Kong, almost midnight, he had about 2,000 questions and comments, and over the space of about an hour and three-quarters, he got through about 1% of them, close to 20 of those questions, at one point answering back very fiery when somebody said, Dick Cheney, the former vice president, has accused you of being a traitor, and he said, well, Dick Cheney was responsible for the deaths of 4,400 American troops in Iraq, the injuring of 32,000 other American soldiers in Iraq, and the deaths of 100,000 Iraqis. That's what he said, and he said being called a traitor by Dick Cheney was a high honor. But he also spoke to the point of, when answering the question, was he giving secrets, American secrets, away to the Chinese? And he said, look, no, absolutely not. This is the way that he put it. Let me read it here. Ask yourself, if I were a Chinese spy, wouldn't I have flown directly to Beijing? I could be living in a palace petting a phoenix right now. So knocking down that point entirely. And he also talked about why he had traveled to Hong Kong as opposed to anywhere else. So there was a sort of inherent in one of the questions, actually asked by one of the journalists who've been talking to him in recent weeks, indicating that perhaps he would have preferred to go to Iceland. That he said that the reason that he'd gone to Hong Kong, essentially it was easier and quicker to get through. This is exactly what he said. Leaving the US was an incredible risk. As an NSA employee, we must declare foreign travel 30 days in advance and are monitored. There was a distinct possibility I could be interdicted en route, so I had to travel with no advance booking to a country with a cultural and legal framework to allow me to work without being immediately detained. Hong Kong fit that bill. He said that he thought if he'd try to go on further to Iceland, then there was the potential that the Icelandic government could have been pressured before he could have developed more popular support for the issues that he was raising, and he said that was another reason for staying in Hong Kong. He also talked about his disappointment. He said he was happy that some of the internet companies, Microsoft, others, had come forward and put information forward. He said this had moved the debate about this, about the hacking, about the emails, about the telephone monitoring, had moved that debate forward. But he also said he was disappointed. He said because now, as he put it, some of the mainstream media had moved away from what he considers the real debate to be talking more about about the looks of his girlfriend, what she looks like. That was a disappointment for him. So this was very much Edward Snowden trying to get all his points across, but really not answering all the questions. Certainly the question I asked him, would he turn himself over to authorities here in Hong Kong if an arrest warrant was issued? That didn't get answered. So a lot of questions really remaining unanswered. Nick Robertson, CNN, Hong Kong.